What's up? What's up? What's up? Now, I don't know who's really first and who's not. What's going on, Trev? Eddie? Straight 8 cold. Jake Stevens. Marcus Garcia. Alexander Anderson. You know, Alexander, I need you to go ahead and speak on the truth, man. I know you want to vent. If you want to call in, Alexander, I can send you the number. Or if you just want to vent, type in anything you want. I'll make sure I read it to the public and we'll just get into it, Alexander, because I know you got a vent today. Rafael Rojas, shout out to Florida. Augustine. Latrell Gaming Channel, what's up? That's what I'm talking about. Anything you guys want to talk about, speak on it. Troy, my screen is always black, brother, just like the coffee I drink. Andrew Schwab, what's up? Ivan, what's up? Canelo versus Jacobs, Rafael. That's a good fight. That's a good fight. It's a hard fight for Canelo. It's a very good fight. Canelo Jacobs, you got any specific questions on that, Rafael? Because the height and reach advantage is going to be a tricky thing to overcome. Marcus Garcia, can you break down Crawford Khan, everybody sleeping on that fight? I see you, Francisco Moreno. Marcus Garcia, Terrence Bud Crawford and Amir Khan is an interesting fight. It's a great fight. And, you know, it's an underrated fight. You know, a lot of people think that that's just going to be an easy push-through fight. Amir Khan can box. I think Terrence Crawford, you know, beats Khan, stops Khan. But I think it's a little bit more difficult. I think it's going to be a much more difficult fight than Mikey Spence. I think it's much more difficult than that. Khan is a tricky boxer. The only thing that bothers me about what Amir Khan said is that he thinks that he can go toe-to-toe with Terrence Crawford. I highly doubt he's going to do that. I highly doubt that. Thoughts on Hurd, and is he the best at 54? Hurd is looking the part. I thought Lotta might have edged him by a round when they fought. But, I mean, it is what it is. Hurd needs a challenge. But Hurd is also talking about moving up to 60. I think Munguia could give Hurd a run for his money because Hurd takes a shot to give a shot. So I think Munguia could, you know, it might be a little early for him, but I think he could challenge Hurd. Okay. Let me send that to you, Alexander. I see you, brother. Let's see what else we got here. Let's talk boxing. Absolutely no money talk. Troy, what's your question? Let's get into it. Eric Stewart. Now, Eric Stewart say, what happened to Mikey Garcia and all the stuff you was talking? I didn't see you make a video after the fight, but it's all good. I know you took it hard. First of all, Eric Stewart, you must be new to the channel and don't understand the way things work around here. I don't duck no smoke. So let me make it 100% clear to you, Eric. I didn't talk any crap about Mikey Garcia or Errol Spence Jr. I straight up said it's a 50-50 fight, could go any way, but I picked Mikey Garcia to win based off skills. When you saw Errol Spence Jr., everybody predicted a knockout. Knockout never came. The knockout never came. Mikey Garcia lost. All credit to Errol Spence Jr. Great fight. It is what it is. And I uploaded 3 videos after the fight. Don't take it hard because I'm not emotional and I don't take anything personal. I don't pick fights based off of emotion or fanboyism. I pick fights based off of, you know, what I see in the ring. Errol Spence Jr. displayed a boxing style that I had never seen him display before. That's what I'm talking about. All these guys. Remy Lokes, what up, IBFP, made like 4 videos after the fight straight cold. So I see all 3 videos. This is what I'm saying. We don't duck no smoke, brother. It is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is. We don't duck any smoke. What's next for Mikey after that loss? Man, I think, oh, that's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. I'm not sure where Mikey goes after the loss at this point, but I think that, you know, there's a lot of talk of him dropping back down to 135 and even 140. 140 has a lot of challenges. Trav D says, VADA testing, knockout Errol Spence punching power. You know, there's a lot been going on about this VADA testing and Errol Spence. And he's been a speculation of a lot of PED testing and things like that. It makes you wonder. It really does make you wonder. I'm not accusing him of anything because I have no hard evidence, but I know a lot of people feel like something's going on. Farmer's too small, Troy. Farmer's too small. Farmer's just too small. Tank won't. If Tank won't fight, Vasil Lomachenko, what makes you think he'll fight Mikey Garcia? Tank Davis likes to fight small guys. He don't want to fight anybody his own size. But I would love to see Mikey and Tank. How do you guys see the Mikey Tank fight going down? Put the name in there if you see, who it is. Crawford called out Spence again. Oh, I'm gonna have to definitely make a video on that, brother, because I definitely got to dig into that. Who do you see, Mikey or Tank, winning that? Trav says, check Bacharach top 10 welterweights. He's the only one not enrolled year-round body testing. Competitive advantage. That makes a lot of sense. Why is Errol Spence Jr. not enrolled in year-round body testing? Explain that to me, because, if you're the best and you're the only top 10 welterweight not enrolled, that's kind of sketchy. That's kind of sketchy. That's kind of sketchy. I feel a little funny about that. What's going on about that? Come on. Troy Graham says Tank will fight anyone. From B-More, it's Mayweather's holding him back. Well, he got to get from under Mayweather, because he's going to have to figure something out. I mean, Eddie Hearn offered him 5 times his normal payday to fight Tevin Farmer that everybody says he can beat. Well, if he can beat Farmer so easy and they offering you 5 times your payday, why are you not going to get that bag? Makes you wonder. Have you seen the young Gabe Flores, the next future star, like a Mexican Mayweather style? I'm definitely going to have to check out Gabe. I haven't seen him yet, but that sounds like a very interesting prospect. Straight Cole says, who Spence go after when he couldn't knock out a lightweight? An old man, never heard him say Bud's name. See, that's what I'm saying. We hear that Errol Spence is not saying Bud Crawford's name, because he really doesn't want to fight him. Eric Stewart, this is a weirdo channel. Well, Eric, my brother, I appreciate you for tuning in, but if you're not happy, you can duck on out, brother. Because, we're here to talk boxing. So if you want to talk some real, raw, live boxing, if you want to debate me on a point, if you want to debate me on anything, this is your chance. Speak on what you got to say, brother. If you really want to debate, if you really want that smoke, speak on it. Troy Graham says, do you realize there's no PBC fighter fighting their biggest challenges? Why is that? It seems like the PBC fighters are all having Al Heyman, the PBC, all these guys are ducking the biggest fights. I mean, look at the Deontay Wilder's not fighting Anthony Joshua. Errol Spence is not fighting Terrence Crawford. Tank Davis is not fighting Tevin Farmer. And the only thing I can surmise is they're basically trying to protect these guys, build these guys up into money-making fighters, and so they can make as much money as they can, but they're not doing anything real with these guys. Eric Stewart, I want to talk boxing. I'm ready. Are you? Eric, I've been ready. What's your question? Speak on it. Say what you got to say. You're the one coming in here saying we disappeared, so you already started off on the wrong foot. You got to come with facts. Andre says Tank versus Ryan Garcia. Who you got, man? At this point, Tank Davis is unproven, same as Ryan Garcia. That's what I'm saying. Tank Davis is a little more proven than Ryan. I think Ryan might be going too early if he went after Tank at this point. Because, I just know that Ryan needs more fights. He's still very, very green. So at this point, I'd edge Tank over Ryan. Jake Stevens, what do you think of Canelo versus Spence? Now, Saul Canelo Alvarez versus Errol Spence Jr. That's a fight that I just seriously do not think that he really wants. I really don't think that Errol Spence want to fight Canelo Alvarez, because he knows he'd lose. He knows this will be the same thing that him and Mikey had, except for worse, because Canelo Alvarez actually has proven power to stop him. That's the difference. That's the difference. Eric Stewart says, are you a Spence fan now after he made Garcia look like an amateur? Well, if you don't realize, Eric Stewart, I'm a fan of boxing. I'm a fan of all boxers. I've been an Errol Spence fan. See, you must be new to the channel, so let me explain to you how I've always complimented Errol Spence. I've always said he's an elite level body puncher. I always said he's a terrific fighter. But just because I said he's a good fighter and has these good qualities, that doesn't mean I can't criticize the things I've seen from him. I've seen no head movement. And, I've seen the fact that Errol Spence Jr. can be flat-footed at times and does not box as well as he should. These are issues that I see. So at the end of the day, we have to be honest and unbiased. We have to be honest and unbiased. I got you, Alexander. I'm working on that right now, brother. And now let's see. Andrew Schwab says Thurman versus Ugas. That's interesting. That's interesting. Thurman versus Ugas. I don't know, man. I think Ugas could give Thurman a hell of a fight. A hell of a fight. A hell of a fight. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Nuke. We need a casual versus true boxing fans video. You know what, Francisco Moreno? We're going to do that. Derek Lee, what up? I see you. I see MC. What do you think of AJ versus Usyk? I think that's a fantastic fight. A fantastic fight. It's skill versus skill, but AJ also has elite level power. Usyk is one of the most gifted fighters we've seen. That would be a true test. Thurman versus Brook. I think Brook might stop Thurman at this point. I mean, if Thurman doesn't come correct, Thurman needs more tune-ups before he take a fight that dangerous. Baltimore in the building. Shout out Derek Lee. Mikey versus Pedraza. Tune-up then Lomachenko. I think that's perfect, Augustine. I think that's perfect. Take the tune-up so there's no excuses, and then face Lomachenko, and then that way you can have a true fight. Triple G versus Charlo. Big drama show. Marcus Garcia. I think Triple G stops Jamal Charlo inside of 6 rounds. That's just being honest from what I've seen. That's just being honest. That's what I see. Taro Knox says, why do you biasly support the bum basher Triple G so much? He couldn't even knock out a smaller Canelo. You got to understand there's levels in boxing, Taro. So let me explain to you the levels. Because what you don't understand is the levels in boxing is Canelo's an elite level fighter. And Canelo Alvarez and Triple G both fit into the 160-pound division. But does Mikey Garcia fit into the 147-pound division? No, he doesn't. And see, but and don't let me find out, Terrell, you're an LDBC fan. It looks like an LDBC logo behind you. Are you, if you're LDBC, claim LDBC. Don't be scared, brother. Claim it. Because if that's what you are, claim it. Claim it. I think Prentice Williams says, I think boxers should freeze out Wilder. Hey, Wilder's going to hurt himself, man. He's hurting himself. Andrew Schwab says Charlo doesn't deserve anything at 60. Derek Lee says fights that need to be made is Tank versus Loma. Great fight. Spence versus Crawford. Great fight. If you're with the LDBC, come out and speak on it. Speak on it. Speak on it, because we duck no smoke. And we're also waiting on a special guest of ours, DT3, the Boone Man. So we're waiting on him to come in. We've invited him as our special guest. He stated he can come in. So he may or may not make the show. But if he can, I can't wait to have him join us. Alex, we're about to get you on the line right now because we definitely want to hear your thoughts. My brother Alexander Anderson needs to vent. And so I want him to come out and speak on everything he wants to say. So we're definitely going to give him a call and let him speak on everything. So we're going to get Alex on the line?
Yo, what's up, Noob?
What's up, Alex? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right, man. You know what I mean? I need the vet, man. The IBFP been like real therapy to me. So let me sit on this lounge here and tell you what I feel, partner.
Speak on it, brother.
March 16th, I was truly disappointed in the fight, man. Because honestly, I was looking into this fight for the past 2 months before actually when it hit the sports books after the Manny Pacquiao and the Adrian Broner fight. So I see Errol Spence and Mikey Garcia. I look him up. I see what it is. Errol Spence, he kind of decent, but I'm seeing all the shit about Mikey Garcia, the parrying, the footwork, the head move, everything was beautiful. His resume was flawless. You know what I'm saying? As far as his training, all the stars were aligned for his training, man. Everything was superior. Everything was elite. Everything was better than Errol Spence. And you know what I mean? I'm not trying to fanboy or nothing, but, I see how it is.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? For the fight, Errol Spence had the same training partner that he had for the last 3 damn fights. You know what I'm saying? Cats were amateurs. Cats were just getting started up in the pro fights and everything like that. Before Mikey Garcia, his brother brought in a 22-0 silver medalist Olympic champion. You know what I'm saying? So I know he was getting that good work. And, for the CNAP program and everything, but come to March 16th, it was straight disappointment. Honestly, $75, I want my fucking money back. Okay, you know what I'm saying?
Now, where do you feel like? Where do you feel like Garcia went wrong in the fight? What do you think he should have did that he didn't do? Why do you think it went out like that?
Point blank, Garcia should have been more active as a fighter. You know what I'm saying? 39 fights, the 40 fights you make, you don't make no adjustments whatsoever. Honestly, Errol Spence left it open in so many opportunities. Even when Mikey Garcia called with a good shot, all Errol Spence did was back up and ball up in the turtle shells. So honestly, he could have took more advantage of the fight than what he did, but he just sat there for every shot that Errol Spence threw at him. And even so, even like his own father was yelling on the side of the ring, because I don't know if you saw the video on ES News saying that, Big G was saying he just need to throw the towel and he need to let his hands go. He need to show us something. But still, you know what I mean, they let the fight go on. Because honestly, if they listened to Big G would have thrown the towels on the 6th round.
Now, did you see opportunities for Mikey Garcia to win the fight and make certain adjustments? Because there was times when Mikey Garcia did let his hand go. He was somewhat successful.
It's almost successful, but not too much to be convincing for me.
No, me neither, because he just would barely let his hand go. 1 or 2 shots, looking for the perfect shots, holding for too long, just waiting for the perfect shot. And that was probably the most disappointing thing, because I see Mikey had the things. He did look slower. It didn't look like he was able to do it, but he had his opportunities. He just couldn't do it. Spence was the better boxer on the day. It was very disappointing because I know Mikey had the potential. I just felt like the game plan was wrong. It was flawed. And, and sometimes you got to use it. I think Robert Garcia is a great trainer. Don't get me wrong. I just think that they didn't come with a plan A, B, C, and D. Because when you get in there and the guys show you something different, you need to have another plan, and you need to have another way about going about getting it. Mikey looked like he was expecting Spence to brawl with him, and that shouldn't have even been his game from the beginning.
I definitely.
Yeah.
But that, and I'm seeing a lot of posts from Errol Spence. You know what I mean? Seemed really, real cocky after his win, calling out Terrence Crawford and hearing certain rumors about a Canelo Alvarez. Like, come on, man, you beat a dude that's naturally at 135, and you couldn't put him down. So, honestly, you stepping a little bit ahead than what you is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I think the next fight is believed to be Sean Porter.
Yeah, and that looks like the next fight. But hold on, man, I gotta destroy this guy real quick, man. And so we got a Terrell Knox here saying, just admit you don't know anything about boxing, IBFP. Now, Terrell Knox, are you with the LDBC or not? Because I haven't had you answer my question. Because if you're with the LDBC, don't be afraid. Represent where you're from. If you're with the LDBC, speak on it. Because don't throw rocks and hide your hand. Because if you're really with the LDBC, like your picture indicates, that proves that you don't know shit about boxing. That means all you do is fanboy for the PBC. That means you're not trying to understand. You don't care about logic or reasoning, nothing. So if you want to go and be emotional about Errol Spence, we're giving him the reality of the situation. Just like my man Alex says, Errol Spence Jr., he's a good fighter. He's a good fighter. But you don't need to puff your chest out for beating a smaller Mikey Garcia and everybody's acting like it's something special. It's not. You cannot compete with Canelo Alvarez. There's levels to this. And Canelo will stop Spence, unlike Spence was unable to stop Garcia. Speak on it, Alex.
All right. Trust me, man. Ain't nothing but truth was spoken there. But honestly, man, yeah, he really, overstepping his boundaries. And like you said, there's fucking levels to this shit. I've been in the ring myself, man. Honestly, it is fucking levels to it. So he's going to fight Sean Porter. For me, I feel like this is mostly like his initiation fight to really see where he's coming from. Because honestly, we got to think that these are both fighters that fought the same guy, Kell Brook. Kell Brook was giving Errol Spence problems. But, Sean Porter was giving Kell Brook problems. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, when Sean Porter fought Kell Brook, it's a real high debatable fight. Because honestly, only thing with Kell Brook was doing, he was doing a lot of clinching. He was hitting Sean Porter with straight shots, but still was a lot of clinching involved, and Sean Porter was really giving him a lot of combinations in a lot of places that he really couldn't handle.
That's true. And then if you look at it, I don't mean to interrupt you, Alex, but if you look at it honestly, Sean, you're absolutely right. Sean Porter's going to beat a fight that's going to give Errol Spence Jr. I think Spence would be the favorite in a Sean Porter fight. I would probably pick Spence to beat Sean Porter. But that doesn't mean that Sean Porter has never been in a fight where he just got blown out of the water. He's never been in a fight. He's got blown out of the water. DT3, the Boone Man, is in the building. 100. Oh, shit, it's real. He didn't got it real. DT3. The boy is real. The boy is real. Let's go ahead and get this brother on the line, Alex.
All right.
We're gonna add this brother on the line, man. Because DT3 is one of the real ones. And that's all we do. And I see the LDBC. I see you in there, Terrell. And you know what, Terrell? I don't blame you, man. I'd be ashamed to be in the LDBC too if I was you. I wouldn't want to announce that to anybody. I would be scared to tell people I'm a part of the LDBC. Mike Stewart. Mikey Garcia called Spence out. So what are you talking about by saying Spence poking his chest out after beating a smaller fighter? Let me put you on Front Street, Eric. Now, Mikey Garcia did call out Errol Spence, and Errol Spence chose to take the fight. But so did Terrence Crawford call out Errol Spence, and Errol Spence chose not to take the fight. What are you talking about? And so after you beat Mikey, you're walking around saying you're #1 pound for pound in the world? What the hell are you talking about? Come on, Eric. You got to come with something better than that. You got to come with something better than that. That don't make no sense. No kind of sense. No kind of sense. You might need to rethink that. You might need to rethink that whole thing. Well, let's keep it going. Let's keep it going.
Yo, what's going on?
What's going on, everybody? Let me introduce you to the man, the myth, the legend, DT3. The Boone Man is in the building.
New media. God, squad. It's what it is, man. Thanks for having me.
Man, thanks for coming, brother, man. You know, we love the message. We got my brother Alex on the line, too. He's a good friend of mine. Great sub. And, you know, DT3, let's go ahead and speak on this Errol Spence. You know, I know these fanboys been coming at you crazy about all this stuff, man. Go ahead and speak your piece on this.
Shout out to DT3, man. I love the breakdown on the Mikey Garcia fight as well, man. Appreciate you, man. Once again, thanks for having me. My whole thing was with the Errol Spence thing was they had overlooked Mikey Garcia like he was just some old pushover, some old bum type fighter. And I was like, you guys haven't been watching Mikey Garcia throughout his whole career. First, he was just Robert Garcia's brother, and he went from being Robert Garcia's brother to being one of the top tier boxers in the game. Now, when Mikey Garcia fought Adrian Broner, everybody said that the Mikey Garcia-Adrian Broner fight, whoever won that fight, was going to bump himself to an elite status. So when Mikey Garcia beat Adrian Broner, and then when Mikey Garcia challenged Errol Spence, all of a sudden that elite status got booted. He all of a sudden wasn't an elite fighter no more. He wasn't a top-tier opponent no more.
Boom.
That didn't make no sense. They didn't do that to Sugar Ray Leonard when he moved up to fight Tommy Hearns. They didn't do that to him. They didn't do that to Floyd Money Mayweather when he moved up to be great to fight Oscar De La Hoya. Ooh. They didn't do that to him. So why would y'all do that to Mikey Garcia? Why would y'all do that to that man?
This boy's spitting straight facts.
And then not only that, he went the full 12 rounds with the man. And it's people that fights in the same weight class as Errol Spence that can't even go 12 rounds with Errol Spence. But you mean to tell me you're not going to give Mikey Garcia the credit that he deserved because he did something that any other welterweight cannot do against Errol? Give that man his credit, man.
Absolutely.
He went the full 12. Errol couldn't get him out of there, and we saw Errol was trying to get him out of there, and he couldn't do it. Yeah, I saw that during the 9th round. Yeah, exactly. I feel you. I saw the 9th and 10th round. Errol was punishing him, trying to get him out of there, and Mikey just wouldn't go. Now, let that have been like a Kell Brook or a Chris Algieri type of fighter. He's out of there, man down.
Absolutely.
But not Mikey Garcia.
Absolutely. And DT3, this is one thing that people misunderstand about you and me. And this is the one thing. And the one thing is they think that because we think a guy could challenge Spence or possibly beat Spence doesn't mean that we hate Spence or don't like. I like Errol Spence. He's a good fighter. He's a great fighter. He could be the king welterweight. I got Terrence Crawford over him, but I think that Spence has the potential to be a great fighter, but he just is not proven to me yet. That's all I'm saying.
I agree.
I agree. I think Errol Spence is being hyped up to be, I guess, the next Floyd Mayweather. And I'm here to tell you live on the stream that we will not see another Floyd Mayweather in our lifetime. We are lucky to be able to even see greatness like a Floyd Mayweather in our lifetime. I don't see no one breaking the money barrier that Floyd broke over. I don't see no one doing that versus anybody that's in the welterweight game right now. Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, I don't see none of them doing that. Especially after the Manny Pacquiao. I see the only people that have the potential to come close to what Mayweather did is the Wilder-Joshua fight. That fight is the only fight that I can see to date that may do those kind of numbers.
I don't think I can actually see that fight coming no time soon, man. Because, come on, Deontay Wilder turned down $100 million. What the fuck is going to put him in the ring with Anthony Joshua?
Now, the only thing
he's not getting 50-50. He's saying he's not getting a 50-50 deal. So because he's not getting a 50-50, it's a problem.
Now, let me
he happens to too much when he holds too little.
That's what I'm saying. I made a video stating that. Like, how can you say your one belt is bigger than 4 belts? Somebody that holds 4 belts. There's no way you can argue that.
Now,
and Wilder should be at this point in junction in his career, Wilder should be the IBF, WBO, and the WBC heavyweight champion of the world. If nothing else, he should hold at least them 3 belts. And instead of him holding them 3 belts, which will actually make his argument more valid, he's holding 1 belt and he's doing his WWE impersonation, thinking that his 1 belt is bigger than all of boxing.
Absolutely. And this is the one thing I'm trying to understand, DT. Why is Deontay Wilder, when he said he's all about one face, one name, one champion, unifying the division, why didn't he go after Charles Martin first? If you can offer Anthony Joshua $50 million like he supposedly says he can, then why didn't you go after Charles Martin with a $5 million bag and go get that belt?
Because he really don't want to be one face, one name, Deontay Wilder, the bronze bomber. If that's any person knows that when you have a goal that you set in mind and you get the opportunity to achieve that goal, you're going to do it. If somebody says, "Hey man, I'm gonna give you $100 million to be on my CBS platform, and you can do podcasts on that, you can interview celebrity boxers all day," you're not gonna turn that down.
Hold on.
Down and say, okay, I'll just deal with my YouTube.
Hold on, DT. I got something special for you. I got one of these LDBC casuals in here, and he's Terrell Knox, and he's repping the LDBC. He came out and stated that Wilder is a bigger star than Anthony Joshua. His knockout style attracts more casual fans than basic AJ. It should be 50-50. I need you to respond to that, brother.
I can trump you right now. This is how you know that Deontay Wilder is bogus. AJ just came in the league. He been boxing, about 5-6 years, and he is a pay-per-view star. When I say pay-per-view star for all you casuals, that means people will pay to see you fight. Canelo Alvarez, pay-per-view star. Anthony Joshua, pay-per-view star. People pay to see them fight. It don't matter who they fight. They could be fighting a guy who's 0-0. People are still going to pay to see him fight. Another example, since y'all want to talk all this hype about Wilder being such a great spectacle in the sport of boxing, the opponent that Wilder is fighting May 18th, Dominic Brazil, fought Joshua on pay-per-view. And Wilder going to say that he's not going to fight Brazil on pay-per-view because he feels that he's not giving the fans, he's a people's champion.
Oh, my God.
And he don't want to charge the people, but if you are such a spectacle, if you are so great, people will pay to see you. And if you are so confident in yourself and you got such a high knockout ratio and people just want to see you knock people out, people should be willing to pay to see you knock people out. Mike Tyson, his fights wasn't going 30 seconds, and people were spending $50 to $80 just to see this dude knock people out within 30 seconds. Get out of here, man.
Thank you. And this is the same Deontay Wilder that lost rounds to Gerald Washington, to Arthur Spilka. He's the same Deontay Wilder losing rounds to subpar competition. And you talking about 50-50 with Anthony Joshua. You've only had 1 belt. You've been protecting it. You've been running. There's no who turns down life-changing generational wealth? Who does that?
That's generational wealth. So he don't want the money. And then that's why I tell people Wilder contradicts himself, because when he had that fake $50 million offer, he was talking about how, okay, well, it ain't about the money. I just want to be one face, one name, Deontay Wilder. I guess since y'all want to speak this money hype, so he thought that $50 million deal out there, he thinking they'll just do it for the money. That's what he tells the public. But then when he builds his profile up, and this is the weird thing is, why would you have to build a profile up to fight these dudes when you've been boxing longer than them? You was heavyweight champion of the world when Anthony Joshua was ripping and running the streets.
Ooh.
When he was worried about if he was going to be in jail or out of jail.
That's real talk.
You was the heavyweight champion of the world. You was at the top of the top. You was the cream of the crop. And you let this young buck who only got, 2-3 years of boxing experience come in the game and take your shot?
Damn.
And now you want to hate? I can't get with you, though.
Man, DT and just set this on fire, but I got to bring up one thing to you, DT. Now, this is the thing about a casual fanboy that masquerades himself as a boxing channel, and he calls himself, he knows his sports. He tried to come at the throne, tried to come at you, man. You got anything to say about this fanboy?
Honestly, he know where I'm at. You know, I had to erase a video because one of my subs told me not to put my home on the spot like that. But he knows where I'm at. I've never shied away from a challenge. And when it comes down to this boxing stuff, I know this stuff. I box. I've trained with boxers. I've sparred boxers. I've had conversations with boxers. So as far as him, he's just an Errol Spence fanboy. Woo! He's just somebody that's just, if you go against his favorite fighter's favorite fighter, he wants to try to get on you and try to talk bad about you. But I'm gonna tell you, just like I would tell anybody else, it's okay to disagree. Absolutely. It's okay to not like what I say. Absolutely. But if you're going to come for me, bro, come for me with facts. Just argue me with facts. You don't have to insult me. You don't have to talk bad about me. Argue me with facts. If you can't argue me with facts, then we have nothing to discuss. And
this is what I've said to him, you know, because I've had him on my lives on debates, and we debate Mikey and Spence. And, you know, I called him Peter Quillen because he didn't even, one, he looks like Peter Quillen. Two, you know, he didn't even know who Peter Quillen was. And three, I also named him the Smoothie King because I told him you don't need to make boxing videos. Keep making videos about the best smoothies you can make for your body because that's really what you need. You don't really know boxing. You don't know boxing. You know smoothies.
How do you not know who Peter Quillen is?
Thank you.
Wow.
This is what I'm saying. It's these fanboys, man.
DT3, man. Thanks for having me on the show. I got to be out.
All right.
I'll be listening on the other end.
Thank you, Alex. Check it out, brother.
Hey, man, God bless.
All
right. Now, DT, we got to keep going into it now. Then let's get to the next topic now. Who do you think? How do you break down an Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford fight? How do you see that fight playing out?
I think what's going to happen is Crawford is going to start off regular orthodox, see what he can do. And if you notice when Terrence Crawford fighting, now this is, I think, the chink in his armor. If you can keep him orthodox, he's pretty beatable. I've seen Terrence Crawford fight orthodox, and he doesn't stay there too long. When he goes southpaw, that's usually when he's starting to dominate. And that's more likely because his strong hand is in the front. So most of his punches are really coming with a lot of thud and impact versus when he's fighting orthodox, everything is just kind of simple, slow, methodical, not much pop on it. But I think when Errol starts to try to take the fight to him, I think Terrence is going to go southpaw and he's going to box him. Because I don't think Crawford is going to try to go blow for blow with Errol. I don't think they're going to sit there and slug it out. The fight that I really want to see that'll be very entertaining is a Sean Porter Errol Spence fight. That fight is going to be like two Rams going at it, blow for blow, head to head.
Now the only thing I'm scared about the Errol Spence versus Sean Porter fight is I want to see a good stylistic matchup. I want to see Porter fight, you know, rugged like he normally does against a Keith Thurman. But what if he comes to box like he did against Ugas or like he did against Danny Garcia? He's trying to stay on the outside and mix it up. Is that a smart plan, or should he just go in full throttle, normal Sean Porter?
Porter he has to, because Mikey even showed it, he has to crowd, because he don't have the length that Errol Spence have. Errol Spence have length. He got long, he's pretty ranging.
Good point.
So he'll give him a little problems trying to come in. So Porter he will be a fool to try to box try to outbox Errol Spence, because that's what I thought Mikey Garcia was going to do. I thought Errol Spence was going to basically do what he normally does, which is just come forward and try to break you down and get you out of there. And I felt like Mikey would saw that coming and he would have just boxed him all night. But it was the other way around. Errol Spence outboxed Mikey, and I think that's what Errol Spence would have to do to Sean Porter. He can't go at Porter head for head, blow for blow. He has to outbox Porter. He'd be stupid to do that.
Absolutely. And I agree with you, man. And then, the LDBC fanboy here said y'all would get ethered on Retro and Ego's live stream. And you know what? All they would do is just nut hug Spence in the LDBC's narrative the whole time. So that don't do anything for us. That don't do anything. We want to break down the fight.
Yeah, I just want to break down the fight. Give me some facts, man. Give me some real, actual facts. And a lot of these guys that are fanboys that are talking, never boxed in their life, never been in a boxing gym in their life. They just are fans of a particular fighter, and they just going with it. And I'm going to tell y'all right here, live, that blind loyalty is not loyalty. So just because you want to rock with him, that don't mean that he's the best.
That's right. That's right.
So you got to really realize and study who you really supporting.
That's absolutely right. And you know what, man? I got to give you this. This is coming from DT3, a guy who is in actual combat sports. This is not like a guy that's making smoothie videos talking about fanboying for somebody. This is a guy that's actually out here doing it. And, and it's not that, we don't like to promote a narrative. We basically like to call the fights, and if you pick a fighter, that doesn't mean you're fanboying for somebody. Just like when I look at AJ versus Wilder, I think Wilder has a chance to beat Anthony Joshua if he lands flush with that right hand. I don't think there's not many people can stand up to that right hand, but I think that AJ comes to, because, Deontay Wilder needs about 4 rounds to figure him out, to be able to get the range and distance on that right hand. I think AJ must rush him in the first 4 rounds and stop him. I think that's how I would see that fight playing out.
Right. I think if AJ just tries to come at Wilder reckless, I think Wilder could catch him, because I've seen Wilder a few times catch guys coming in. I've seen Wilder catch guys on the way out. And AJ is the kind of guy, even if you look at the fight when he fought Dillian White was catching him with some good shots when they were trying to trade punches. And I don't think AJ wants to trade with Wilder like that. I don't think he wants to make that decision. I think he wants to pick his shots right. I say when you fight a guy like Wilder, you got to pick your shots. Unless you're like a boxer like Fury who will keep the jab on you, who's long and rangy as well as you. So
that's true. And then Anthony Joshua was an underrated boxer. I noticed when he fought Povetkin, he was using the jab, going to the body early, setting up his shots for later in the fight. So that's how I saw him. Yeah, he just methodically broke him down. And this is another one I want you to answer for me, DT. Terrell Knox says, Terrence Crawford is too small, not acclimated for the weight. He ain't fighting the right fighters to prepare for Spence. Errol Spence breaks early. What do you think about that?
Okay. The same thing that he just said was the same thing that Errol Spence, Keith Thurman, and all the other welterweight champions said about Terrence Crawford when he came to the welterweight division. They said that he needs to be the welterweight. He's too small, right? Jeff Horn is not a welterweight. Jeff Horn is actually a middleweight, which is bigger than Keith Thurman and Errol Spence. Even though Errol Spence could move up to middleweight, but I know that Jeff Horn is more of a natural middleweight.
True.
And he stopped him.
Absolutely.
So what does that tell you?
And Jeff Horn has a lot of size. And then the fact that Errol Spence didn't stop Mikey, that would concern me for Spence's side, because then I look at it and I'm like, if Crawford is, I know Crawford's going to be much more responsibly defensive later in the fight, but I also know Terrence Crawford is going to come with a different game plan that Mikey see, because Mikey looked like he didn't make too many adjustments to me in that fight. I think Crawford's going to constantly make adjustments.
And that's what's going to get Errol out of there, because Terrence Crawford makes adjustments. And that was something that I thought Mikey was going to do. I saw that like the second round of the fight. When I saw Mikey trying to time him and catch him, I was like, oh, he going to get him. He going to get him. But he didn't make an adjustment once Errol adjusted to that. So it was like, he had a plan B, but he didn't have a plan C, D, E, F, G. He just had a plan A and B. And once plan A didn't work, he went to plan B. And once plan B didn't work, it was over. The fight was over. And I think when Errol Spence fights Terrence Crawford, that's going to be the difference. Because Crawford is going to have A, B, C, D, all the way to the letter Z. He's going to have a full game plan for him.
Absolutely.
So I don't think Errol Spence have the mental wherewithal to deal with that.
I agree. And then I look at it like this, too. If you break down the situation in the fight with Terrence Crawford, you understand that Terrence Crawford, this man, you know, I understand people say, well, you didn't fight this guy or this guy. But regardless of how you do it, Terrence Crawford unified an entire division at 140 pounds. A lot of people overlook that and don't give him credit. That's a difficult thing to do no matter who you are, no matter what division it is. That's a difficult and special thing to do. That's a hard thing to do.
Exactly. And if you want to be technical, like I said before Usyk went up to heavyweight, there was only 3 boxers in the game today. Currently, this was before Usyk went to heavyweight. Because Usyk is going to fight Carlos Takam in the heavyweight for his first heavyweight fight.
Yep.
But before Usyk did that, it was Usyk, Cecilia Brækhus, and Terrence Bud Crawford were the only 3 boxers in boxing that were undisputed champions.
Ooh.
And even to this very day, them 3 boxers are the only boxers of this era, even with Floyd Mayweather, the only 3 boxers of this era that have been undisputed champions.
Absolutely.
And they don't get the credit they deserve.
And that's the problem with this society sometimes. Guys don't want to give the real guys and what's proven credit. And when you look at it, I think the one fight that's going to show us how good or bad Errol Spence Jr. really is and can really prove to us what level he is the Sean Porter fight. I think if he goes in and he destroys Sean Porter, because I've never seen Sean Porter destroyed. Sean Porter's been durable in pretty much every fight. He's gotten dropped against Adrian Broner, but he won every other round, looked like to me. I will say this. If he goes in and destroys Sean Porter, I say, man, Spence is really on another level than I even thought he was. If he has a hard time with Porter's struggles, and a lot more things are exposed about Errol Spence, because there's a lot of hype around Errol Spence, so it's hard to digest and see what's really good and what's really true about him. He's a good fighter. He's an elite level body puncher, but he has issues. And yes, we've seen him box Mikey, but we haven't seen him box a natural welterweight. So let's see what he can do against, you know, Sean Porter. If he destroys Sean Porter, maybe he's a better fighter than I even thought he was.
Yeah, I would agree with that too, because Sean Porter, a lot of people don't realize is that Sean Porter is actually a middleweight as well, but he's very disciplined enough to keep himself at 47. Because Sean Porter is actually a big guy. It's just the reason why people will say that he's a weight bully, but the reason why Sean Porter stays at 47 is because of his height. He's too short. He fights at 60 or 54, them guys are tall and big. You know, Sean Porter, it'd be too hard for him. So it's naturally smart for him to fight at 47 because of him being short in stature. So that's perfect for him. But with Errol being the power puncher that he is, if he was to get a guy like that out there, that would prove that he's a very, very good elite caliber fighter, because nobody gets rid of Sean Porter like that. No one gets rid of him and just tears through him. No one runs through him. It's usually the other way around. So I would love to see that fight. I'm personally, based on what I've seen with Mikey, I'm going to go with Errol Spence to win that fight. I think Errol is going to go 12, because Errol is not going to want to go blow for blow with Sean Porter, because Sean Porter could hit 2. Because if y'all saw the Keith Thurman fight, Keith Thurman didn't want no smoke with Sean Porter in the later rounds. So we'll see.
Yeah,
because I think Errol Spence's power is overrated a little bit. I think they put him on a plateau that he don't need to be on. And that was another thing that I said about Errol Spence when they was talking about, oh, he the boogeyman, he the boogeyman, he the boogeyman. And I was like, y'all said the same thing about Triple G. And then as soon as Triple G went up against somebody that actually challenged him, then all of a sudden he ain't the boogeyman no more.
Thank you.
He's just a regular guy now.
Thank you. I've been saying about his power for the longest, and guys saying, well, you're just a Mikey fanboy, this and that. I don't fanboy for any fighters. I give everybody their just due. I think Spence has the power to stop pretty much anybody, but he needs an accumulation of shots, and he needs a target that's going to sit there and let him do that. You know, Chris Algieri, let him do that. Kell Brook's style was conducive for sitting there taking shots. But when you fight a Terrence Crawford, that man is moving. When you're fighting a Sean Porter, a guy that's so naturally aggressive in your face, If he fights that way, fighting from a close distance, that's going to be very hard to let unleash thorough body attacks. That's going to be very hard to do that. I think it goes 12 rounds with Spence too, and I pick Spence to win the majority of those rounds. But I will warn everybody, don't think that Sean Porter has no chance to win this fight. I think Porter does have a chance to win the fight, but he's going to have to come with an extremely disciplined and smart game plan. He's going to have to be very well disciplined. He can't come into the fight, you know, barely making weight and stuff like that, like this last fight. He has to be disciplined and he has to be on point.
Yeah, I didn't feel him barely making weight that last fight. I didn't like that at all. I thought he should have kept himself disciplined. He knows that he can lose his belt because Adrian Broner lost. Adrian Broner really, from what I know, he never lost his belt except to Maidana. After he lost to Maidana, he never lost his belt except to the scale. And I don't think Sean Porter want to have that same problem losing the belt to the scale, man. It's like, how would you feel if you beat this guy, right? But you don't leave with your belt and you lose to the scale.
Absolutely. And I agree with that, man. You know, nobody, you don't, because at this point in boxing, having belts equates to a lot of money. And, you know, everybody's trying to be the unified champion. Everybody's trying to have all the belts. Now, I will say this. When we break down the fights, let's look at, you know, Usyk at this point, and if he fights Anthony Joshua, if he fights Deontay Wilder, because let's say, you know, Eddie Hearn has already came out and stated that, you know, if Deontay Wilder doesn't want to fight Anthony Joshua next, and that fight doesn't happen next, then Joshua could possibly face, you know, Usyk, who would be, I believe, his WBO mandatory. At that point, who does Deontay Wilder face if he doesn't face Tyson Fury at the later half of the year? Because he can't go into another bum bash. And is he going to take a dangerous fight against a Dillian White or someone? I know the WBC is not going to mandate that fight that quickly.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say either Dillian White, but you never know. They might put him against Kalnacki.
Ooh, and Kalnacki's a dangerous fight for Deontay Wilder. People overlooking Adam Kalnacki. Kalnacki's a very dangerous fighter. He's very aggressive. And he's very strong. He's underrated. And Deontay, in my opinion, DT, I don't know if you share this or not, I don't think Wilder's chin has been tested. I don't think it's been tested thoroughly enough.
I agree. I said this plenty of times that, you know, when you see in interviews, Wilder's always talking about how he, you know, he's putting his life on the line and he's taking a risk with his life and all that. And I'm here to tell you right here, right now, Wilder has never, unless somebody knows something I don't know, and I've watched pretty much every Wilder fight, Wilder has never taken a fight where he was fighting somebody that could actually hurt him, someone that could actually really hospitalize him. He's never named somebody that he really fought that's like, hey, man, if he hits you, you going to sleep. Nobody. Name somebody. If y'all know, just tell me. If it's comment, leave a comment in the comment section. If y'all know, you let me know, because I never seen Wilder fight a real puncher.
I haven't either. And then, hold on, Black Wall Street says Ortiz, laughing face. Break him down, DT. I know you finna get him.
If Ortiz was a puncher, he would have went to sleep in the 7th round. If Ortiz was a real puncher, if nothing else, Wilder would have at least touched the canvas. If he was a real puncher. Me and my best friend, Ten Rider Gray, shout out Ten Rider Gray, me and him both said if Anthony Joshua hit Wilder with the same punches that Luis Ortiz hit Wilder with, Wilder would have been asleep.
Thank you.
Come on, man.
And I don't see Anthony Joshua going into the 7th round like that. And that's just the way I see the fight happening. I think Anthony Joshua takes the first round or two to fill it out, but gets extremely aggressive in the 3rd and the 4th to stop Wilder. That's because I think the key to beating Deontay Wilder is beating him early. The later the fight went on with Luis Ortiz and Deontay Wilder favored Wilder to be able to land that right hand. The same with Tyson Fury. You got to get him out early to beat Deontay Wilder. I think Fury was robbed. I think Fury boxed Deontay Wilder's head off. I don't think 2 knockdowns was enough for all these fanboys to say that, hey, you know, he earned a draw. I just don't.
And I'm going to say this. Because it made me upset because I'm from an Oakland native. So when Andre Ward basically kind of said it was okay for it to be a draw, I went somewhere with that because I personally, and I say this to the deaf of me and I say this to Andre to his face, I felt that Andre Ward lost the Kovalev fight.
Ooh, the first one?
I felt that Andre Ward lost the first one. The first Kovalev fight, I felt Andre lost. Okay. I did. The second one, I gave it to him. But the first fight, I felt that he lost. And based on Kovalev pretty much outworking him, and he looked like he was dominating. But he got the W. Now, I tell people all the time, Wilder waits on you to get tired. He waits on you to throw your load and waste all your punches, waste your energy so he can catch you with that right hand. Name a fighter, a B-level fighter. We ain't talking about an elite class fighter. We're going to say a B-level fighter that Wilder knocked out within the first 3 rounds.
Anybody. Name a B-level fighter Wilder knocked out in the first 3 rounds. If you got all the LDBC, just a B-level, not even A-level, not C, just a B-level. Anybody.
A B-level fighter that he just clean, just from the start of the bell, he just came in, boom, man down. Gets back up, boom, man down. Let me know.
And then MC said Ward knocked out Kovalev the second fight. Now, my thing is, I think that Ward did stop him the second fight, but I think the first fight was very close, and I think Kovalev might have edged that fight. I can understand how someone could see Kovalev winning that fight and why being so close. I think Kovalev just should have protected himself better the second fight to make it more competitive.
Right, and this is what I told people all the time when they was on that. Well, he was low blowing him. He was low blowing him. I'm a dude. I got the same material he got. And I know just like any other man, when you get hit in the balls, the first thing you do is grab yourself.
That's right.
Kovalev didn't grab himself not one time and said, hey, man, he hit me in the nuts. He hit me in the nuts. He didn't do that one time. What did he do? He was holding his stomach, laying on the ground. And then he going to say it was low blows. And that was bullshit.
Absolutely. And he got hit clean before he even went down to the body shots. Before Andre Ward went to the body, he was hitting him clean to the face. And so this is what I'm saying is that he methodically wore him down and broke him down. Andre Ward looked like he was even losing rounds early in that fight because Kovalev seemed to be outworking him. Andre Ward had a game plan to go to the body in the mid rounds of that fight. That was his game plan the whole time. Andre Ward knew that fight was not going the distance because he knew his midsection was soft.
He knew that. And because, like I said, but Wilder, he waits until, like, the 7th or the 6th round to the middle of the fight to really start letting his hands go. And, of course, I know from experience, the longer the fight goes, you're going to be more tired. Your legs are going to get weaker. You're more susceptible to getting knocked down. It's harder to stay on your feet because, you're tired. You're wearing down. So when you got a dude that has a monster right hand, and he's saving all his energy. He's reserving all his energy, and he only throws between 5 to 10 punches a round. You getting into the later rounds, them punches are now, they starting to hurt. They've accumulated now on you. I don't think Wilder beats you because his right hand is just that much power. I think it's just over time, he's just hitting you that one time. Boom. Boom. If I take a baseball bat and I just hit you once every few minutes, after about 20, 30 minutes of hitting you, you're going to break the fuck down.
That's true.
It's the same shit.
And then you got to look at it like this too, DT. At the end of the day, when you see Deontay Wilder, there's guys that have gotten up from that right hand. Tyson Fury, even Luis Ortiz got up from it the first time he was put down. So Fury, Ortiz, I think Romain Stavern got up from it. So at the end of the day, that right hand, just because you get caught with it doesn't mean you have to go down. And if Ortiz was a real puncher, when he went down the first time, he could have came back and stopped him because he would have had a sense of urgency. He had no more gas left in the tank after that. That took everything he had.
Yeah, I told people that. I said Ortiz, to me, he was tired the first round. He was overwhelmed by the event. He was never in a spectacle that big before. Because if you look at the fight, go to the end of the first round and look at Ortiz on that stool, huffing and puffing, spitting in a bucket. He looked like he in round 6.
Yeah. And I'll say this: if Wilder and Fury meet at the end of the year, I think Frank Warren said that he would like for Wilder and Fury to meet at the end of the year, but you never know with Frank Warren. But let's just say that does happen at the end of the year. Wilder and Fury meets. He ducks Anthony Joshua for the rest of the year. Fine, that's the fight we get. We'll take it. I think I'm of the opinion. I know it might be far fetched that it's possible for Tyson Fury to potentially stop Deontay Wilder the second time. I know boxers fare better, pure boxers fare better in the second fight against a slugger or a big puncher. I think that Fury's going to be more alert, and he hit him clean the first fight, and it looked like he even hurt Wilder a few times just because if he didn't hurt him, he wouldn't have never gained his respect. What do you think about that, DT?
Right. I think he did hurt Wilder. I think what round was that? I think it was the 10th round. It was It was the 10th and I think the 12th round. When Wilder knocks Fury down, the controversial knockdown for one. I'm gonna go on that one first. Okay. The controversial knockdown when Wilder knocked him down and he got back up, and when Fury caught him with that right hand after he got back up, Wilder didn't want no parts of Fury. And that's the thing, and that's another thing that people underestimate about boxers. When you hit a fighter with your hardest punch, and you know you hit that dude with your hardest punch, and he's still coming, that do something to your psyche.
That's right.
That make you cautious. That make you think like this so-and-so here, like I hit this dude with the kitchen sink and everything in the house, and he's still coming, man. Wilder didn't know what to do with that. That's why when he's sitting there talking about Fury don't want to go through that again, it ain't Fury that don't want to go through that. It's him that don't want to go through that. Ben Davison said himself in the IFL TV interview, shout out IFL TV, stating that he does not want to fight Wilder under the same terms. If the terms are going to be the same, they're not going to fight. That's why they're not making the fight happen now, because the terms have not changed. And if the terms have not changed, they're not going to take the risk for the same type of results happening. You got to respect that.
Absolutely. And I agree 100%, because at the end of the day, the second fight should be in the UK. That's where I think it should be. And not only do I think that, when I look at this fight and I see Deontay Wilder, I feel like Wilder's biggest problem here is, one, he already knew he lost the Fury fight, and that's why he pushed so hard for the rematch, aside from ducking Anthony Joshua. But also, at the end of that fight, the one thing you normally hear from Deontay Wilder is a bomb squad. Not once did he say that. Not once did he say that. He was happy he got a draw. When they said it was a draw, that man had the biggest smile and grin from ear to ear, because he knew he survived and escaped. That's what he knew.
Yeah, he got away with one. He got away with one. He shouldn't. Wilder should not have a belt. He shouldn't even be in boxing. I'll tell y'all right here, right now. When Wilder loses his belt, he gonna go off and start doing movies and reality television. Ooh. He's not gonna be boxing no more. He's not gonna be talking like he's the baddest man on the planet. He's just doing that right now because he's trying to get fame. And that's something that really upsets me about boxing today versus boxing in the yesteryears, because back in the day, you had to fight the best boxer and beat him to be famous. Now, you need to be famous to get the fight with the big name boxer, which I don't like that. I don't feel that. I like it better when it would be, I'm a good fighter, you're a good fighter, you got good wins, I got good wins, people want to see us fight, and the winner of our fight is going to reach a stardom stratosphere that is huge, bigger than life, pay-per-view star status. It ain't like that no more.
Absolutely.
The best is scared to fight the best because they saying, oh, I ain't getting paid enough. You're getting millions, multi-millions of dollars. You're getting more money than people will ever see in their life. You're getting the most. This era of boxers are the highest paid in all of boxing, and they still ain't happy.
That is absolutely true. And you know, we got another topic that everybody's been requesting us to talk about, and I really need your opinion on this. Gervonta Tank Davis, Mikey Garcia, Vasyl Lomachenko, all these guys in these lower weight classes. Who do you want to see fight each other? Where do you want to see Mikey go from here? What weight class you want to see Mikey in? And who do you want Tank to fight? Because Tank is in the farmer fight ain't happening for some reason. What's going on with all of that? Where do you want Mikey to go, and who do you want to see Tank fight?
I want to see Mikey fight Loma.
Ooh.
I want to see Mikey fight Loma to get rid of this Lomachenko myth. That Lomachenko is so great. He's so that his skill level is so amazing. And then y'all fail to realize that he fought Jorge Linares, and Jorge Linares put him on his ass. So if Jorge Linares was able to do that, what you think Mikey Garcia gonna do?
And a lot of
I want to see Mikey fight Loma.
And a lot of people ignore the fact that Lomachenko got dropped with the shot from Jorge Linares, who's not the level of puncher that Mikey Garcia is. Mikey Garcia could hit somebody at that level and put them to sleep. But Vasyl Lomachenko is going to box Mikey like crazy. The thing is that, you know, I had one person tell me before, and they said, you know, it's a complex fight. It's really not complex at all. It's very simple. If Mikey lands flush on Vasyl Lomachenko at least 2 times, he's going to sleep. But Vasil's going to have to use angles, foot movement, and hand speed to constantly, just to try to outbox Mikey Garcia the entire fight. I think it's a 50-50 fight. How do you have that fight split breaking up? Do you have it closer or far apart?
I have it close. I have Mikey winning in decision, but I have it close. And I really want to see Gervonta fight Loma or Kevin Farmer or Teofimo Lopez.
Ooh. There's no way he's stepping in against Teofimo.
Gervonta and Teofimo. That's what I really want to see.
If he fought Teofimo Lopez, even if he lost, I would give him nothing but props, because I'm like, man, this guy has heart. Because you see the way Teofimo knocks somebody out. I know you're in combat sports. What does it say about somebody that just knock you out, but don't just knock you out, put you to sleep? Teofimo make guys close their eyes. These guys are drooling on the canvas. What kind of knockout is that?
Right. That's just beautiful, man. It's beautiful. I would really, and I got to give him his just due, because don't nobody talk about him enough. I don't hear his name enough. And I'm looking in the comment section. Somebody brought his name up, and it's of course Devin the Dream Haney.
Yes.
Shout out to San Francisco city situation, the whole Bay Area stand up.
Yes, sir.
But Devin Haney is not being looked at in a proper way. People looking over Devin Haney. I think Devin Haney would beat Ryan Garcia. I think Devin Haney could even beat Kevin Farmer. I don't think Devin Haney could beat Gervonta, but they're not going to fight each other because they're friends. But I think Devin Haney is going to do cool at 135. I think by the time he becomes champion, Loma and Mikey will probably be then moved up, or Loma will probably be retired. I don't think Loma's moving up to 140. I think he's going to stay at 35, do what he can at 35, and then retire. I don't see Loma fighting past like 35. I see Loma just fighting a few more fights and then getting out the game. And so I do see Devin Haney being champion at 135 and moving up to 140. Well, I do see Teofimo and Devin Haney, because they got a beef. Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez got a little beef going on. Evidently, come to find out, they have sparred back in the day. That video was on YouTube at the Mayweather Boxing Club gym. And it was a very even Steven sparring match to me, but based on what they're saying, Devin Haney feel like he got the better of him. Teofimo feel like he got the better of him. So I would love to see them two fight. But shout out to Devin the Dream Haney and his whole team and promotion staff. I think Devin Haney is being overlooked as a 35-pounder. And also another person that's being overlooked because of he got one loss is Robert Easter. No one's talking about Robert Easter.
That's true.
Because he lost to Mikey Garcia. And people keep sleeping on him because of one loss. And I think people need to give Robert Garcia some respect, too. He's coming back to fight. And I would like to see Robert Easter fight Ryan Garcia. That's what I really want to see. Now,
that'd be an interesting matchup, because, Robert Easter's got that height, the reach advantage. He's going to be a problem. I would even like to see Robert Easter fight, even Loma. I think that'd be a great fight. It'd be just interesting stylistically because of the height and reach advantage. And he's a better fighter to me than Jose Pedraza.
And Loma got to do a lot more work. He's going to have to get in and do a lot more. But the thing is, though, I can see Loma really beating Robert Easter because he is a busy fighter.
That's true.
A lot of the African-American fighters, no disrespect to them, a lot of the African-American fighters, aside from Sean Porter and Errol Spence, they're not very busy fighters.
No.
They're not busy enough. And that's partially why some of them don't get the big fights, or their names are not big enough, because they don't entertain. Their entertainment value is not where people want it to be. A lot of people don't really want to see them fight, and that really upsets me. And it goes back to the Abel Sanchez comment. And ever since he made that comment, black fighters have been getting scrutinized for their style and the way they prefer to fight. The only person that is a black fighter that I really, really don't like how he fights is Adrian Broner.
Yeah.
Because Adrian don't let his hands go. But most black fighters, they're not busy enough. Kevin Farmer is a good fighter. He's busy to me, but to some people that I've spoken to about him, they say he's not busy enough. So I think that a lot of black fighters need to work on, combination punches and not being afraid of getting hit so much. They're too busy trying to be swagged out and pretty and shit. I think most black fighters need to work on combination punches, and just being more active and being more entertaining, and stop trying to be more entertaining on your social media page.
Ooh. And now I will say this: one fighter that's getting overlooked that we did mention is Shakur Stevenson. I think that kid.
Yeah, him too. My bad, Shakur, bro. My bad.
He's the truth, bro. Like he's the truth. He can do it all, and his knockout is his knockout power is starting to come because he's developing when and how to hit a guy at the right time. He's picking his shots better at this point. Shakur is really showing a lot of development, and maybe that's the working with Andre Ward as being his mentor. But he's very close with Terrence Crawford as well. So he has the right guys around him to give him the mind frame and the boxing IQ to get him where he needs to be. Because Shakur, in my opinion, is going to be that next best thing. Him, Teofimo, Devin Haney, these guys are the new era, and it's going to be an exciting as hell era.
It's going to be exciting. And Shakur Stevenson is openly, every fight, he's looking amazing. And on top of that, he's calling out openly Ryan Garcia after every fight on every platform. Every time somebody asks him who does he want to fight, he's like Ryan Garcia. And all Ryan Garcia is talking about is Gervonta Davis. And it's like, I think, Ryan, you need to fight Shakur Stevenson. Y'all records is about almost the same. But Shakur barely got 10 fights, but still, I think they should fight each other. I think Shakur Stevenson and Ryan Garcia should fight each other. I think that'll be a good fight. But as we know, this is the money era. So people got to build themselves up, and they got to build up to, because everybody's afraid to take a loss. So they're not going to fight no big fights because it's too unsure of the outcome. And I think those are the fights that are going to be harder to make. The fights where you're not sure of the outcome are the harder fights to make. The fights where you know, like, oh, I'm going to win that. Oh, Mikey will win that. Oh, Gervonta will win that. Those fights are the fights that we're going to see most of the time. But any fight where it's a toss-up, where it's an actual debate of who will win or lose, those fights are not going to be made easily. They're going to be so hard to make.
Now, I got to get your opinion on this last topic here, and this is about Saul Canelo Alvarez versus Danny the Miracle Man Jacobs. That's a hell of a fight to me. That's a 50-50 fight to me. How do you see that fight, DT?
I'm excited. I'm going with that fight the same way I did with the Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence fight. I'm not going for no particular fighter. I'm just going to basically say that fight is for boxing. That is a great super fight. I think that Danny Jacobs is going to try to push the fight. I think Daniel Jacobs would be stupid to try to outbox Canelo. I wouldn't do that. If I was Daniel Jacobs, I would try to press the fight to Canelo, make Canelo counter. I do believe that Danny Jacobs hits harder than Triple G. So I think Canelo will have a lot more respect for Danny Jacobs' power because he does have a decent knockout percentage. So, but I do think Canelo, boxing politics-wise, I do think Canelo will get the win. I think in order for Danny Jacobs to get the W, he will have to put Canelo down a few times or knock him out. If he does not do either one of those, then the fight will go unanimously, if not a split decision to Canelo.
Now, let me ask you this. Who's the wild card in the middleweight division outside of, because you already have Danny Jacobs, you have Canelo. Is Demetrius Andre, a wild card, the X factor? And you get a lot of these LDBC fanboys saying Jamal Charlo can beat Canelo. Jamal Charlo can beat Triple G. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh my God. These Charlo fans, let me tell y'all something about the Charlos. If you did not see the last Charlo fight, watch it. That lets you further know that they not all what they cracked up to be. Okay? The Charlo brothers are nothing but bulls. They come forward, don't get me wrong. They know how to fight. They can punch. But they have no ring IQ. Once you get past the basic come forward, wing and ding style of them, they can't do nothing else after that. They're not going to make any adjustments. They're just going to still try to do the same thing. They proved that, Jamel proved that when he fought Harrison. Harrison was just hitting with the jab all night, showing ring generalship, all that. And he couldn't do nothing with him. Jamal, when he fought the Russian guy, that Russian dude was beating the hell out of him. He got lucky and got an basically easy decision because he lost that fight. He shouldn't have got the decision. They easily gave that to him because he was the Charlos, and they didn't want to have both of them lose on that night. They only could take one loss. But I don't think I think the Charlos should fight Triple G. I don't think the Charlos could beat Canelo. I don't think the Charlos could beat anybody in the middleweight division that's of elite caliber. I don't believe that. They've proven that they can't even beat B-level fighters.
Woo!
So, I mean, the fighters that they've knocked out were all C-level.
I agree.
The fighters that they knocked out, they were all C-level. When they fight B-level and above, it gives them problems. That's how you know you elite. If you're an elite fighter, you knocking out B-class. If you're an elite fighter, you knocking out A-class, A-level. You're not going 12 rounds with B-levels. You're not doing that.
Absolutely. So, I agree.
If a B-level fighter can push you and make you work harder than anything, you ain't no elite fighter, period. You're not elite.
I agree.
So I see Triple G beating the Charlo brothers because Triple G don't back down. I don't think Jarrett Hurd could beat the Charlos because of I think the Charlos hit too hard. I think the Charlos hit harder than any opponent that Jarrett Hurd has ever faced, and I don't think he wants to fight that fight. Because Jarrett Hurd got that take one, throw one, take one, throw two, or take two to throw my one. Like that's not a good style to fight the Charlos with. Jarrett Hurd is not very smart with that. A good fighter, entertaining style, but I don't see Jarrett Hurd fighting in the next 5-10 years. And
Jarrett Hurd said something. Jarrett Hurd said something egregious to me, and he said that he feels like he's going to move up to middleweight. And my whole thing with Jarrett Hurd is I understand he's getting too big for 154, but he said the easiest fight for him stylistically is Danny Jacobs, and I think stylistically that might just be the worst fight for him because I think Danny Jacobs stops Hurd easy.
He stops her easy because Danny Jacobs hit hard. He must not have saw the Peter Quillen fight. So either way, I don't see Hurd really doing too much in the middleweight division when you got guys like Boo Andrade with a 75% knockout ratio, and he's a purebred boxer. It's like, come on, man. My dude right now, the ones I'm going for in the middleweight division right now is Billy Joe and Boo Boo and Canelo. Them my dudes right now. Them the dudes I'm rocking with. And Colin Smith. Colin Smith is cool. He's cool. He got pop. But I still want to see what he do against somebody with some skills.
And I agree. And what do you think about Jaime Munguia, the young fighter? I think he has a lot of potential. I still think he's a little bit green, but I think that Jaime Munguia should be looking for step-up fights as far as the end of this year, beginning next year. But I think Jaime Munguia is an interesting prospect. What do you think on Jaime Munguia?
I think he needs to work his defense.
I agree.
I really do. I like his style. I like his willingness to be a warrior. I like the Mexican heart. I love all that. Shout out to all my Mexican fighters out there. Viva la Mexico.
Yeah.
But he needs to work his defense, man. It's like fighters like him and Jarrett Hurd, we're not going to great entertaining fights. They'll show us why we love the sport and all that. But those type of fighters don't last long in the sport because they take too much punishment. And I think if he focuses more on his defense and be able to incorporate his defense with his offense, he'd be dangerous.
I agree.
I do see him, I do see him beating the typical basic middleweight in the next few years. Right now, no. He's still too green. I think he should have fought a couple of more fights before he got the big fight. But, it's not my career. I'm not in his camp. But I think he should still take his time. I don't think he should rush.
I agree, brother. And you know what, DT, man, I like to say that it's been a pleasure having you on. We're going to shut it down today, but let the people know where to find you, how to contact, how to subscribe, all that good stuff, brother.
Oh, man, if you want to subscribe to my channel at DT the Boom Man, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon so you can be notified every time I hit y'all with some hot shit, man. Follow me on Instagram at DT_Boom. Follow me on Twitter at DBoyWS. So, man, you already know who it is, man. It's your boy, DT3, New Media, Notification Gang. God Squad. It's what it is, man. You see me.
Say, you're going to have to trademark that God Squad. That was pretty dope right there, brother. That's pretty dope. You got to trademark that. But
I am. They love it. They love it, man. They love it.
And we definitely going to have to do more live streams, man. We're going to have to keep this going and keep giving the people what they want, brother.
Oh, yeah, I got you. I got you. Just let me know. We keep this going all day, every day. I'm going to keep my videos coming. I got some more videos coming. I got a live stream I'm more likely going to do later on today. Because I got some stuff to talk about. You just put some little bugs in my ear, and I got some stuff I need to hit the people with. And I want to thank you for having me once again.
Absolutely.
It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
It's been an honor, man. I just want to say thank you for this, man. I appreciate it.
And thank you, man, for coming to join and dropping that real knowledge. Thank you for checking the Smoothie King, Peter Quillen. Thank you for keeping it 100 and a buck on all the fights, brother. I appreciate you coming, and we definitely will do this again because I see the people love it in the comment section, brother. Shout out, holla at you. DT3 to boom, man. There's only one. I'm going to get at you next time, bro.
All right, man.
All right.
Go.